Hi, my middle school folks. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're staying safe. And this week I have a project that I really hope you're going to enjoy. We are going to go from this to this. Now, that was a really quick shot of it here, but that was Abraham Lincoln. So, what we're going to do for this project is I want you to take the profile view of someone famous from the side, okay? And you'll see that we're going to put a straight line down the middle and then draw this face in, and you'll see how these curved lines and things work. Now, the point of this is to abstract it. You'll also see in the video here that I'm going through with organic shapes, these rounded sort of shapes. You could do this entirely with hard lines and edges. You could make it geometric. You can have it however you like, okay? So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so once you've chosen who you're going to draw, remember it just has to be a portrait of a famous person. And you want the side view. So what you're going to need primarily for this is a Sharpie, some colored pencils, a pencil, and a ruler. Now what you're seeing me do here is mark halfway on the paper. It is 4¼ inch. I marked on the top and the bottom because I want that perfectly straight line that's going to divide this in half. I was about to draw my line here, the curved line that you had seen, but I decided it would be better to start drawing Abraham Lincoln's profile here. So starting from the center line, I'm taking about half of his face, and I'm just lightly drawing this with the pencil, which I know is difficult to see. I am working that general to specific, just basically getting an outline of all of his features, and I'm not really going in and putting a whole lot of detail in there. And that's going to come a little bit later when I put the Sharpie lines on. So once I have this rough portrait of him, I have made my curved line. There really is no right or wrong way to do this. The only stipulation is that you have to begin and end at those center points. So right at that midway line that you drew. And what this curved line does is sort of forms the back of their head, this partial part of the portrait that you're going to see. And just to help myself align it, I drew his eye in here very roughly. And you see me just making a few touch-ups here. Just making sure everything is perfect before I move on. So immediately here I'm going to be switching to the Sharpie. You can use a black colored pencil or a pen here to substitute if you'd like. And of course I just have to get everything absolutely perfect before I move on. There we go. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing vertical lines for one half and horizontal lines for the other. So I'm flipping this ruler upside down, and then just every so often, I'm not really measuring, I am putting down these straight lines that are as parallel as they can be to one another. Now when I reach Abraham Lincoln's face, where I've drawn that portrait, you'll see that I start skipping over that. You want to avoid drawing over top of your face. Now that's where my curved line ended. So I'm flipping this and doing horizontal lines for the other side. And that's going to make these perpendicular. It just helps make this, divide this up a little easier. And I think it makes it more dynamic. It leads your eye around the page in a more interesting way. So wherever the face is that I have drawn, I'm stopping just short of that. And I'm just working my way up the page like I did with the vertical lines. So you can tell I'm left with kind of a funky shape for President Lincoln's head here. And that's what we want. I want this to be a little more abstract, and it helps take the pressure off getting a perfect portrait. So my next step here was to divide up the face into these organic shapes that you saw at the beginning. Again, you can do hard edge shapes if you like, if you feel that is more in what represents your person more accurately, these hard angles or edges. And there is no right or wrong way to do this. You could have as many shapes as you want in there, you could have fewer shapes. They could all be very similar, they could be very different. I just chose kind of randomly. I divided it up into the nose, the eyes, and the jaw, and I just worked in on those, and I filled space until everything was all filled in. So once I finished drawing in all of these shapes, I went ahead and I started to ink them in. Now you'll notice any shape that would touch the edge, I'm not putting the Sharpie lines on if it would run along the outside of the face. I didn't really want to contour the face in that way. I wanted to leave the edges of that white just so it is just color that is reaching those lines. I think it helps blend that face into the piece a little better. And then I just picked a random assortment of colors using the entire rainbow and just trying to make it so that the same color doesn't touch in this picture. So I'm just filling in these spaces and working on that until it's complete. So that concludes our project. Here's my finished result again. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you had a good time. I'll see you next week with the new assignment. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and don't forget to submit it to the Google Classroom for a grade. Thank you.